Welcome all as we congregate to the greatest toy line in community, ever growing, ever changing. As we collect and adapt these figures to our own imaginations and embrace the fun, there's much to learn, especially if you're new to Mythics. Hello, friends, and welcome to a brand spanking new episode of New to Mythics. Tonight is a special deep dive, dwarf deep dive, and I got this guy right here. I got the master dwarf right here, and my buddy Matt is going to help. So we're doing the deep dive of dwarves. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing awesome. Good, doing good.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I've been thinking about this all week. I'm excited. Just looking.
I'm glad you picked to do this during the year of the dwarf.
Absolutely. I mean, isn't every year basically?
Every year is the year of the dwarf. I'm glad you picked this year.
Yes, me too. Yeah. I think now is a great time. I was kind of looking at the list earlier, and we've got some good ones, man. We've got some. Eric has made some great dwarves, and it's. It keeps coming. We've got some good ones coming out that I'm excited for. We're going to show those. I forgot to make a slide. Okay, sorry about that. I realized that I did not download the slides for the figures that we're missing, which are only a few. So we're all set now. Issues are fixed. So basically, for people that haven't seen the deep dives, is I like to see like the figures in hand. There's just something about seeing them, not like the production pictures and all that stuff are great, but seeing it in hand or having a friend kind of look, this is what I got, kind of almost like show and tell. Like you go to a friend's house or go to school and the friend brings a figure to school and you actually get to look at it. That's kind of like how I feel about, the deep dive of these figures. So that's kind of what we're going to do tonight. If Matt has the figure, he's going to show it. If I have it, I'll show it. I don't have very many. So mostly it's going to be Anthony, who's going to be showing all those amazing figures that most of us don't have. So let's get started.
Sounds good.
So I was looking at the Kickstarter has 7 dwarves. So we're like right off the bat, like heavy dwarves, like
they went right into business. Yep.
Yeah, like they weren't playing around. They were not like, we'll just let's do a dwarf and maybe next wave. No, they were like boom, 7 dwarves, bam, just like that.
And I'm knowing Eric, I'm thinking he went with 7 dwarves, maybe because of the 7 dwarfs in the Lord of the Rings, not necessarily because of the Snow White reference.
I would like to think that too.
Yeah,
I'd like to think that too.
Yeah, we're gonna go with that.
Let's go with that. So the first one on the list is Bothar. This was the first. Matt's like, nope, I don't have it, but we will, Matt. We will. When the All-Star 6 soon decides to show up, we will have Bothar, which is an awesome.
So here he is. So fun fact, Bothar was my very first Mythic Legion figure.
Oh, nice.
So this figure holds a lot of sentimental value to me because without this guy, I don't have Mythic Legions. So when the opportunity to vote for him came up for the fan vote, when the decision was between Bromden or Bothar, obviously when you look at the value, Bromden had more. Bothar being an original from the original line was one of the few original ones that were still left for people to choose. But for me, it tugged on the heartstrings. And he's just awesome. I mean, color wise, very, very standard looking armor, nothing too snazzy, nothing too jazzy. His weapons are very basic: axe, sword, knife, stuff like that. So, but when you think of a dwarf, that's kind of what the Mythic Legion dwarf is going to be. So,
is there some unique parts to
no,
Bolthar? No,
not really.
So would I be able to build?
So his horns have the darkened color on, I guess, the shadow horn part. So on you can see where they're kind of shadowed.
Yeah.
Hence the shadow horn part. But no, as a whole, nothing really sticks out. Nothing screams to me like, oh, this is a very one-off, unique part of that.
Now, you said it was close, allegedly, between Bromden and Bolthar.
Yeah.
For the boat. What do you think? Why do you think people chose Bolthar over Bromden?
We, as the Kings Under the Mountain, united in our vote because we needed some figures. We needed some dwarf parts, and we realized that instead of us getting like 10 skeletons, because like they always love to dump skeletons in the All-Stars, we decided to unite our vote and pick as a united front. Now, everyone was probably going to pick 2 dwarfs anyway, but we needed to make sure that we were all trying to pick our one that we wanted. And so we did a group vote, and we did a poll, and obviously people are going to say, yeah, I'm going to do this, but maybe do whatever. But looked like it came through, because not only did both our win, but Bromden came really close, from what I understand, to possibly have made that all-star list as well. So we could have had an all-star that could have had an all-star wave that could have had both our Bromden and Scally.
That would have been,
would have just been like the dream wave.
Is Bolthar? Would you say Bolthar is more rare than Bromden?
Than Bromden, yeah, at this point, just because of age.
Okay. Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to it. I think that's going to be a fun figure. Yeah. And I hope that and I hate to say this, but I hope that there's going to be a lot, like, a lot of Bolthars out there now, so that, we can have multiple, and I love that beard too. I think that
it's the barbarian helmet, that has that lush beard and everything. And I mean, it's original parts that we've seen for a long time. And I know that there's that, the issue people have of part reuse, but I mean, that's how the line is. But these are amazing parts. And what's kind of funny now is here we are now, there's been so many new parts to the line, and so much, where like the Magnus torso is something that we've seen a lot now, and other things that I haven't seen this head come out in a while. So now when this comes out again, there's going to be like waves of people, of new collectors that go, well, this is new. This is cool. I haven't seen this before. And it's going to be, a new piece to a lot of people.
And it's attainable.
A new generation, so to speak.
Which is great, which I love seeing.
Yeah, I'm glad, because I know a lot of people that have been around that have collected for a long time. Seeing reissues is kind of like, it's not a sore spot maybe, but it's kind of like, hey, you didn't do your time, you weren't there, you didn't buy an original, you weren't here for the right. And I get it, it's kind of not cheating, but we kind of came in later. But it's great to be able to have something that's considered a classic by us, and by you guys that have been around for longer. But
even as someone that's been around a long time, there seems to be always all-star figures that I go, I don't have one of those, or I don't have 2 of those. I need to fill in gaps. So it hits there's still figures in those waves that hit spots for everyone. Unless you're that guy that has everything, and I can't help it that if you have everything, then this wave's not for you. So enjoy the new figures that come out instead.
Right? Yeah. Or buy them again. Buy more of them.
Yeah.
Now, do you think there's a difference? Do you like so with this new Bothar? Do you think? I mean, you're going to compare, of course, but do you think there'll be a difference between, or will it be basically the same? Or has there been? Have they said that there's going to be slight changes? Or
I don't think we've seen any paint samples of it, but could there maybe be more detail in the beard, or could there be a different armor overlay, or it could be.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, and when they show up, we'll find out then.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, like little things. Like I noticed, my friend Mark had sent me a reissue of the green, the Ranger, the green elf Ranger, and I always forget which one was which, but the original either came with because he comes with the hair
hood and then the hair
or the hooded head, and either the reissue has him with the hood head on, or the original has the hair one. And I don't remember but they're the same thing, but they decided to put, the hood on the reissue or the original. I don't know. I don't remember which one it is, but
right.
I think that was kind of interesting that they did that. Maybe so you could discern which one.
Right. Well, we're going to get into a figure later on where we're going to where there is a difference between two versions of it. Okay. So we'll get there.
We'll get there. Okay. We're on the second one. Like we've been talking for 12 minutes and we've only gotten to one figure. So the next figure I think is definitely a classic in my book. It's the Bronze Dwarf. And I think that's just a fun basic figure that every dwarf fan should have, or new to dwarfs. That should be my new show name, is New to Dwarfs.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah. So Bronze Dwarf, if you have a Bronze Dwarf, pull it out. I love that shield.
But I got I'm sorry, I do apologize. I got the head pack head on him.
That's okay. I love that head pack head, and my head pack head will show up later on the show. I have a Bronze Dwarf, and I forgot to pull him out for the show. He's over there, and I can't get to him. And I love that. Does that gold shield come with the is that the normal?
That's standard. Yep.
Yeah, I love that. Love the colors.
So what was great with that is that not only did we get it in wave 1, but then we got it with the reinforcements wave.
Yes.
Right? So that was an opportunity for us to really fill in some gaps. I remember getting mine as one of those. It was like one of the last ones I needed to fill in. It was a gift from Walter through someone, which was awesome. And Walter's, runs the Cabal, just, all around great guy. And he was able to help me out with that. And then like 3 months later, that the builder wave comes out, and then there's like 30 of them sitting in my house.
That's fun though. I do that. Like if there's a figure I love, we were just talking about that with Barbarians. It's like you can't have enough of a figure that you love. That's just, some people can, I guess, but I'm like, I give them all to me. I love the figure. I want, one in every room.
From a customizer standpoint, it's a great figure because it's got a great base to build off of. Because you can put your lighter colors on it. It's got a good dark base that you could build off. You could put your lighter silvers or whatever, change your colors, and just kind of go from there. And it does come with the standard dwarf non-bearded helmet, which up until recently was like my favorite helmet of all the dwarf helmets. I actually like the one without the beard, without any beards. I like that armored beard look, almost like you took your beard and you tucked it inside of it. Like that's kind of where it all just kind of sat inside of there, kind of thing. So because you don't want to risk it getting cut off in battle or something.
That is true, or pulled, or
tripping over it.
Yeah, I'm sure they're proud of their beards for sure.
Yeah.
Next figure from the Kickstarter wave, Joran Runeshaper.
So mine is a little bit customized because not only is he a magic guy, but I wanted to give him more magic parts. So I dipped into the Motu Classic parts and pieces.
There you go.
And then gave him a little magic effect and stuff like that. But that purple and that blue and the green, the way that all kind of goes through. And obviously we've just seen the head that, you know, that Matt had on his custom, but here's the original version of it on Joran, because for a long time it was very unique.
Yeah.
Because it's just got the round, smooth Merlin style skull top to it. And like when you look at that face, you know, you just know that like he's doing some magic. Like
yes, what an epic figure. What
right?
The colors are
And
just so out there, but awesome.
And what was cool too is that he came built as a builder too, because he came with the helmet, like just a regular knight helmet. So if you wanted to, you could army build him. He could have his own guard to protect him. And you know, a couple years ago, me kicks myself in the bottom for not buying a few of them,
right,
to have a guard to protect him.
Yeah.
Because those colors just, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen them do anything to make new colors like that.
I haven't either. Like it was out there. Like I wish I could be like in the room when Eric is like, you know, thinking of colors and you know, his decisions on, you know, what he's gonna do. And
then Sherry just goes, yeah, no problem, and then does it, and you're just like, oh my god. And then they send it to the factory, and then the factory's like, okay, no problem, we'll do it. And then they just make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely has that just not what you're used to. It just pops.
Yeah.
But like a dwarf wizard.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Give me more.
Double awesome. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Next we have Orange Steelhide.
Nope, Matt.
That's you, buddy.
That's me. This, if we're talking hot colors.
Oh man.
Yeah.
This is like, this is the bee's knees, man. This is
Tank. He's like,
so
what's the helmet?
What's great about the way they describe him is that he's supposed to be taller than the others. And he's, you know, one to be light-footed and climb trees and do all kinds of cool things. I don't have all of his weapons or anything like that on him. I just kind of how I have him. I actually have a full throne room diorama where I have all the dwarves that are Mythic Legion. They're in the line, all hang out together. And in my head canon this is where they all are before the War of the Aether Blade began. So you've got Bromden still as the king. You got both are like, you know, Grimmier Wormtongue, you know, whispering evil thing, because that's how in my head both are is the reason why Bromden is evil. He converted him somehow.
Right.
He's got the builders as his guard around him. He's got Joran sitting in the back corner just reading spells. Then you've got Torgen, Halmir, and Orn sitting at the table drinking booze, having a good old time. And then you've got Thord observing. Both are up to no good, and then you got Ragna standing at the door on watch, ready, knowing that something evil is afoot. So I don't have room for all their accessories when I have them on display. But this green is just screams like woodland. I can't. It doesn't. It's got this weird iridescent kind of look to it. And I know the cameras and the lighting, you know, don't do it the justice that it needs, and just got to be able to look at it in real time. But he comes with two different heads. He comes with this helmet, and he also comes with a bearded version. So you could do it however you want. And I know that the comic book isn't that was out, that came out years ago, isn't canon. But there's a version in the comic book that has him depicted as being bald and like a brown beard. So when I saw that, to me, I keep the helmet without the beard. And I think the trading cards, when they came out way back when, has him with just the helmet and no beard either. So that's how I kind of show mine off.
Nice. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, I love that green.
Yeah,
I'm a
that green
fan of
is.
that green.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I was thinking that color is the color reminiscent of the Silverhorn Sentry. Is it like kind of a similar green or not? Is it not even
You know what?
close?
It
I
looks
have a,
brighter.
I have a Silverhorn Sentry thigh right here, and yes, yeah, it lines up.
Yeah.
It matches. That's
Yeah,
that same color green.
it kind of just popped into my head. I'm like, I wonder if that's the same kind of color.
And that's something that the studio, you know, is great for doing. Like they're known to, you know, find different ways to, you know, integrate, you know, common army colors and things like that, especially when it's in the similar wave. Now, you know, a couple waves now, you know, when Krotos came out, his green is a little different, a little brighter, because they may not be able to color match it the exact same way that they did it at that time, kind of thing.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think that's interesting how you'll see that color again somewhere down the road, maybe years later, you might see it again. So I love that. I think that's super cool. Up next is one of my personal all-time favorite Mythic figures, and that's the Silver Dwarf. I love that figure. I'm in love with it. Totally.
It is. My son, that's my son's favorite too. I got him one for Christmas, and he's a big Dark Souls and Elden Ring fan, and he says that reminds him of, you know, pulls him into that Dark Soul game for some reason.
Yeah.
I wish that we got him as part of a builder's wave, like a reinforcement wave, because I'd buy a whole case of them.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
The pauldrons that he comes with are one of my favorite style of pauldrons. I prefer those over the bubble ones.
Me too.
I like how it gives him a little bit more movement and the mobility. He just looks like something that you would see standing in Moria at guard, you know, protecting, you know, during the third or during the fourth, you know, just waiting for something evil to happen.
Yeah. It's just, it's just awesome. I'm kind of new to discovering it. Somebody had brought one up, or I think it was Greg McTavish. He had picked one up from somebody a year or two ago, and I guess I hadn't noticed that figure, and I saw it, and I'm like, whoa, I need that. And so I went on a hunt, and now I have a couple, but it's just in its simplicity, it's perfect to me.
And if you're, again, a customizer, a couple contrast paints, you just throw the contrast paints right on top of it, and you're in business. Like, you don't have to do a whole lot to make that thing go nuts.
Have you done that with the silver?
Yeah.
Do you have any with you, or do you have any? I would be curious to see that.
I don't have. I think I might have sold some of those. Okay. I don't have them with me, but yeah, it's just, you know, because it goes on so smoothly, and you don't have to put any other base layers down because it's already down.
Yeah, I might have to. If I ever buy another one, maybe I'll send it to you, and you could make me one. And I would love.
I love where your mind's going.
I would love to see that. You know, the contrasting colors of silver on that. I think would make it even more.
Some nice blues and reds running through all that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Next dwarf is Sir Valgard. Me and Matt are like, nope. Nope.
So mine has a very fun story. I feel like all mine have stories.
That's okay.
Actually, my Orn had a fairly fun story too, but this one is probably one of the coolest stories. So I won in the G-Con a couple years ago a test shot of the Battle Cat, the oh god, I can't remember. Karos.
Yeah.
And I also had a Torgan test shot.
Oh, wow.
And Travis Bowles from the My Wife Is Gonna Kill Me podcast came across a loose collection. Didn't go into specifics, but he came across a loose collection, and this was sitting in the loose collection. And I said, "Hey man, I need Valgard." And he goes, "Well, what do you got?" And I said, "Well, I have these 2 test shots." He's like, "All right." I said, "I'll throw something else in there." I made a custom figure for him that I threw in there. And he goes, "There's a story behind this figure." So he sends it to me. I open it up and I let him know I have it. And then he FaceTimes me, and he goes, "This Valgard came from CB. This was part of CB's personal collection."
What the heck?
So this thing has sat on a toy shelf at CB's house, seeing whatever it has at CB's house.
Right.
And now it also had time to see whatever it's seen at Travis Bowles' house. So this thing has seen some stuff.
And it's your house. So
And now it's at my house.
Right.
So
it's got some
this
tail.
guy has got some hazard pay over the years.
Right.
So
I love it.
this is one of those figures where it's like it was the Kickstarter exclusive. You could only get it from the Kickstarter. There's no other way that this is getting reproduced ever again. And you know, I had mentioned, you know, in my standalone episode of New to Mythics, how my friend Justin loved this character so much that he would buy like dozens of these things so he could use the parts and pieces to make all sorts of random customs.
Mhm.
Wow.
So like in his collection with his wife, you know, for his estate, like there's probably just fodder of parts and pieces of Valgard just laying around. Like it's insane. It's crazy. So, but yeah, this is without question one of the coolest colors, like the way that the gold and the purple and the silver all just kind of blend and go together. Like I just
Beautiful. Now, would you say because of its exclusiveness, would you say that was probably the rarest dwarf?
Yeah,
the hardest to get, maybe.
Probably one of the hardest to get at this point now. And also keeping in mind that most of the dwarves, I know we joke about it, but I mean, it's been said that they typically are produced in lower numbers.
Mhm.
So their rarity is already generally already higher than everything else. And with the customization that existed early on, figures that are in full complete condition that are out for, you know, secondary market, that's limited. So to come across one is going to come at a high aftermarket value.
Right.
So
yeah.
And something like this, they're never going to make a legacy of Mythos Valgard. I mean, not to say that they won't, but they won't make this ever again.
Right.
So this is one of those where it's like, yeah, you're sitting on something.
Yeah.
The house is on fire. You're going to run back inside, and you might want to, after your kids and wife and whatever else are secure, you might want to go looking for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, sir. Next is Thord Ironjaw.
Nope.
It's on me again.
No, it's
It's
you
on
again,
you,
buddy.
brother.
I'm just gonna keep the solo layout on you, man.
Yeah, there we go. We'll just sit here and watch.
Yeah,
Anthem.
we'll be the hecklers in the background, being like,
So-
"Oh, that's awesome."
So to me, when I think Mythic Legion Dwarf, I immediately go to Thord
Yes.
Ironjaw. Mine's a little customized. I took the horns off of Cassia and gave him more of that ivory kind of appearance.
I like that.
Yeah. And then I also gave him, I think I gave him Ragna's fur piece and just kind of tucked them underneath
Okay.
the pauldrons, and her and Ragna's blue hue that she has in her armor and her weapons match really close with the blue that's in Thor. So I gave him the smaller axe to kind of carry around with. But yeah, I mean, not to really say, Thor wakes up every morning and pisses excellence.
Absolutely.
So when we get the legacy of Mythos and the opportunity comes and we're able to get, more figures. I know Otho, they already showed him off, but if this guy isn't second, we need to riot. Like,
absolutely.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Look at that face.
Yeah.
Like, that just
perfect.
I mean, that helmet.
Yeah.
Like, I know we got the helmet with Halmir, but like, they look like two different people. But like, this beard, this is just amazing. The shield, the tempo on this, like, it's just, this is perfection
all day long.
Yeah. So this, another one that was a gift to me. It was on the table when I bought my first Mythic Legion figure, and I bought Bothar instead of Thord, and my buddy Nick got it, and I regret not getting Thord instead. And then a short time later, in the mail, this thing shows up at my house, and there's Thord looking at me.
That's awesome.
So
that's a good friend right there.
The community of friends and everything is just it's just amazing,
unreal. Well, that's it for the Kickstarter. That was some amazing first. Jeez,
I know,
man. We still have a lot. To go. Do you know what the total number is of dwarfs?
I can count and tell you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. About 18 to 20 in that area.
It's like 17.
Is it?
Yeah. So you've got.
Yeah, I might have counted double on the. Well, there's two versions of.
Yeah, if you're counting if you're counting some of those in doubles, then yes, we're higher up. But yeah, we're 17 for like single releases, not counting like re-releases. So
right. Yeah. The correct answer is we need more. Right.
The correct answer is not enough.
Not enough. Absolutely.
Yes.
So the next wave was Advent of Decay, where we get
such a good wave.
The King. We got Bromden.
Yeah.
The King.
Yep.
And
I do have him.
I do too.
Have him as well, Greg.
Yes. Can we get a picture of all three Bromdens up in the
I love this when we do this.
I got my phone up. Everybody's got their Bromden on the screen. Yes. Yes. I will be posting that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What a figure, man. I mean, I was gonna say, was this my first dwarf? I think when I bought this is when I really started to take dwarves seriously. Like, this was I think I bought a cavern and like a bronze. And I'm like, these are pretty rad. But then when I got Bromden, I'm like, holy crap. Like, this is for real. Like, the fur, the head sculpt, the crown, the beard, like, everything is just epic and regal and badass.
Yes, he's
just metal.
He just means business.
The black armor, with the gold.
Mm-hmm.
It's just... all day long, man. It's just rad. Let me embiggen Matt here. It's just an amazing. You've got a souped up cape. Is that Action Figure Armory?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, souped up cape. Super man. Yeah, Eric just pulled out all the stops when he made this.
Well, when he names certain figures after his kids, he's going to go a little extra.
Absolutely.
Right. And when he names both the Goblin King and the Dwarf King after his kids, he makes sure he goes big. And the fact that he's got both of those, like the rivals. Like it's awesome.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, Noglin's got a little crown envy because Bromden's got the crown that, you know, that's the crown of crowns. Like that thing is just awesome.
Yeah, Noglin's crown it's cool unto itself, but
it's cool.
It's not a Bromden, you know.
Yeah, it's not a Bromden crown.
This is like wood or something.
Yeah.
Bromden's got that, you know, precious metals. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Bromden, man, what a figure.
And he comes with the alternate head, so you could build a whole guard and King's Guard. He has the black and gold shield, which is beautiful, that black and gold. I mean, it's the Cavern Dwarf shield that you see in a lot of other characters, but the way that black and gold just pop on that. He has the large sword, the black and gold sword, and he's got that big hammer, some axes. Like he is a fully loaded. I mean, he's got the cape.
Down for business.
Like it's just.
He's got the fur. He's got the pauldrons.
I mean, it's almost deluxe level the way it's packed out at a standard figure price.
And I didn't even think about, you know, like back in the day, like buying a couple for like a guard, you know, that with those black helmets.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like the Owain helmet, isn't it? Like the Sir Owain.
It's the jousting knight helmet.
Jousting knight helmet.
What's the piece?
Black.
The piece on the top, is it a dragon?
It's a dragon on the top. Yeah.
Yeah. That's metal all day long.
Yep.
Beautiful. And I think the next one was in that wave was the Cavern Dwarf version 1.
Version 1, yeah.
Which is my favorite version. I love that.
So, which is cool because we might as well just do them both.
Yeah, hell yeah. I love that.
Version 1 and version 2 gave us the opportunity to where we've got version 1 with the long beard, and then there is the alternate helmet, which is just the armored helmet. And then when they did a reinforcements version 2, they gave us the Cavern Dwarf again, but in lieu of the bearded helmet, they had given us the new deluxe dwarf helmet with the front portholes for the horns. So the only difference between these two is just they swapped out the bearded helmets. So, which is awesome. So to me, I count these as two separate releases because they're different.
Absolutely, I agree.
They're different figures. If we had just gotten this again, it would have been like the Bronze Dwarf would have just been like how we got the Bronze Dwarf as just a reinforcement, would have been the same thing. So, but like we talked about Bromden being fully loaded, the Cavern Dwarf is. I mean, you could buy one Cavern Dwarf and you could outfit like 4 different figures.
Right.
He's got the shield, the hammer, an axe, another axe. He's got the belt. He's got the 2 different heads. Like it's insane the amount of stuff that you could load him out.
Packed, jacked, and racked.
So like if you go ahead and you buy 2 or 3 of these things, you could create a whole shield wall, and then you've got all the hammer and you get everything else all put together, and you've got like this whole crazy looking army with just $100. You can buy three or four of these things, and you've got this impressive display right off the bat.
Absolutely. Are they the same color?
Yeah, same color. Yeah, the same. Yeah, I mean, they matched them spot on.
Matt had picked up. I don't know. It was a show that I didn't go to. I think it was it MuskyCon last year?
Yeah, it was Muskie last year.
You picked up you had the version 1 before, or did you get it then, or
no? I put was on my version 2. I did that.
Okay. Like you posted a picture. You posted a picture of the dwarf.
Yeah, I sent it to you.
And I became obsessed with that picture. I was like sending it to like my stepson, who's a Mythic fan. And I'm like, look at this. Like Darla's cape, her short brown cape on this dwarf is just it. The color is just like perfect. It goes so well, with the figure. But like I was like, thank you, Matt. I was like obsessed though. Like I was like, I need more cavern dwarves. Like this was my cowbell. Like I need more.
Yeah,
and I think I bought like a few more just because of that. I need more of these brown capes though. I need to see if Darla can make more of these, because these are.
I'm sure Darla would be more than happy to do that. She is such an amazingly talented and generous and kind-hearted, sweetheart of a woman.
Sweet lady. And but yeah, this is when we do our top 5, this is spoiler. This is on the list. The version 1, the beard, I love it.
The only thing that, and it's funny, the pauldrons. I'm not a fan of the evil pauldrons, but I know he's technically evil because they're part of the Arethyr. Yeah. So it like tracks with that. So whenever the opportunity presents itself to swap out, I'm swapping them out for something else or whatever. But that is the only thing where I go, yep. And I just have a big pile a big tote full of.
Now, I'm with you. I'm not a super fan of the evil pauldrons. I would love to see a different pauldron type on these. Yeah. Maybe even the round, like the Poxus round, or the ones that came with the Barbarian.
Yeah.
Is there a bronze type of this color that has a different pauldron that I could just do without painting?
To just do a pop and swap?
Yeah.
You know, it's not exact, but I have a desk dwarf at work. There's a shocker. But I took the Bryophytus pauldrons. I'm pretty sure they're the Bryophytus ones. They're more brown. Mm-hmm. But I use them on my desk dwarf at work.
Yeah.
So they're not the same copper. They're not copper at all. They're more, like I said, they're more brown.
Yeah.
But they complement it nicely.
Yeah, I might try that.
You're not going to do an exact match. It's just that's its own unique color.
Matt, I wonder how Krotos
is too shiny. It's too bright. It's too yellow.
I wonder how they would look like on him. I might have.
It's too much of a yellow copper, whereas this is more of a red copper.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot darker.
Yeah.
Trying to find my Krotos. Huh.
Krotos is one of those
he's
like
definitely more brighter.
Yeah, Krotos is one of those adjacent dwarfs where you like when Alithia came out, like I had made way too many Krotos like dwarfs just using those parts and pieces, and I end up with like, I don't know, 15 goat heads and hooves left over because I was like,
what am I going to do with these?
Yeah. I think I ended up making a project at one point where I hollowed out the Krotos head as like a pauldron for something to just started just getting real crazy.
That's pretty rad. That's pretty rad. Okay. Next we have the Colosseum wave. And that was our introduction to Halmir Golden Tooth, which I think is a super damn cool figure. There's been a couple times where I almost picked him up and I didn't. And
there are many who say he is probably one of the best dwarves that are out there. And it's hard to argue with that. Recently, the Eurolegions podcast did their favorite mythic characters. Mm-hmm. And I know that he was one of the choices. But yeah, this is awesome. I love the feathers, like the wings on it.
It's epic.
That just makes that so good on here. The asymmetrical pauldrons give the whole vibe of the Colosseum wave of like just grabbing whatever you can find and throwing it on there. He is, let me verify, I believe he is the only male, let me rephrase that. The only male dwarf out right now that has different feet than everyone else. He has
I was just noticing that.
Yep.
I don't think I knew that before.
Yep. He, so, and we'll go into it, in between, maybe, in between the waves here, we can go over the parts that constitute a dwarf.
Yes.
But yeah, he's got evil feet.
Evil feet. How do you feel about the evil feet?
With the asymmetrical armor, grabbing whatever you can find to be able to compete and go at it and go to battle, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
So
I actually like them on him.
With the backstory. I mean, I've made evil dwarves, and I put these on my evil dwarves. But with the lore and his whole backstory, it that works. Like, you're just grabbing whatever you can to try to stay alive in this Coliseum and trying to get the hell out of there. So
he's not worried about style. He's worried about staying alive and kicking ass.
Yep.
Next is the Soul Spiller wave and the introduction of my favorite.
I love her.
Ragna.
I love her.
Me too, man. Me too. I will pull her out. Who else has got Ragna? Matt, my man. All right, let's do the 3. Hold on, let me get my phone. I love it.
Oh, we got her all laid out a little differently. Oh.
Team Ragna right there. Heck yeah. I love it. Awesome.
Yeah. I don't care what anyone says. I don't even care what Eric Treadaway says.
Right?
She is awesome.
She is awesome.
She is awesome. So unique. And I think the dwarves call me. Maybe it's just I don't know. I don't think it's because of this show, but I think like the dwarves can be so different. They're so different and flamboyant in the colors and their choices that Eric has made. Like, I think with more than any other race or faction, I think the dwarves have the biggest variety and array of colors than any other, that's my opinion.
Well, and I believe that there's a dwarf in every faction now.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to go back. Well, I know they just created the new ones with the new lore with where they move Rhaegor into that new faction and they move Arzak, but not counting those. But I'm pretty sure we've got a dwarf in just about every faction.
What about Alithia?
Well, yeah, Varg, yeah. I mean, is Varg a dwarf? Yeah, that might be that one that just.
Let's just say he is.
Yeah, at one point was a dwarf, maybe.
Dwarf pyre.
Yeah, dwarf pyre. But yeah, you're right. I mean, and again with the lore, the Soul Spiller out in the the ice, where they were, how things were so desolate. She could have been a little thicker. And, this is what's left of her after, trying to survive off of, trying to, survive. So
she's on that Thalen diet.
On that Thalen diet. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the colorway on her, again, someone can fact check me, but I believe this was a custom that Joe Vassapolo had done. And they had loved the colorway so much they had used that.
Really? I hadn't heard that.
In a figure and use that to make that colorway, and they end up using it on Ragna.
That's awesome.
Joe can verify that. I can message him and verify that, but I think that's what the story was with some of that.
Yeah, I love it. I love the figure. I think Brett actually gifted me my first one, and because he couldn't make a skeleton out of it, I guess. And so
don't ever say that. You can't. He can make a skeleton. I'm sure
that is true. Yeah, I challenged him a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I'm like, why do you want a barbarian for? You can't make a skeleton out of it. And he's like, stop. And he showed me.
We're working on something.
No, he did. But the only thing was weird was that the legs, the boots.
We're working on that. We're working on that.
Of course. course.
We're resolving that. So for everything that Brett tries to skeleton, I tried to dwarf. And actually, it's so funny that I've turned myself into a meme where we were sitting at Legion's Con this year, and I was looking at, I think Carlos Espino had something. He had some armory figures, and I was like pointing at it in a certain way, and I made it into a meme where it says, "I can dwarf that." So now every time I get something, I try to convert it into a dwarf, and like I'm like anxiously awaiting my Ganesh or to arrive, Ganesh to arrive, because I know that the shins are dwarf height. So like, and the belly, I'm like, I'm gonna make a dwarf. Like I've got parts sitting here going, like I'm the guy behind the tree going, I'm gonna dwarf that. Like, and I got to be the first one to do that. And I think that they've gotten to the point now at the studio where they know I'm gonna try to like bastardize everything they make into a dwarf. So they've delayed on me getting this stuff because I know I got to be like one of the early guys ordering. So they're like, no, we're gonna make him wait and just sit there and watch everyone else start messing with these things. So like, I'm sitting here with like one project ready to go with it, and I just need the shins to do this and put the belly on. I'm gonna have this like crazy. I've done a monkey dwarf. I've done a Franken dwarf. I've done, the Anuba dwarf. I've got to make it work.
I can't wait to see. it, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Monday evening. It'll arrive Monday, and there'll just be this flurry of cardboard and plastic ripping around, and then
parts flying everywhere,
and the hair dryer running, and I'll be doing it right away. Like I remember getting Monkey King, going to my mother-in-law's, that like literally going up to my mother-in-law's and asking her for a hair dryer, and she's like, "What do you need a hair dryer?" I'm like, "Mom, I'm working on something." She was like, "Is this a toy thing?" I'm like, "Yeah." She was like, "All right." So like I'm sitting there like hair drying, and like I take the pictures and then I put it back together, and she was like, "That's all you need it for?" I was like, "Yeah, I just needed to do this thing to know that I could do it." So sorry, I didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole, but
that's okay.
I do up everything.
I love that, man. That's true dedication.
Yeah,
absolutely. Next is the Wasteland Wave and the introduction of Torgen Redfin.
The man. I mean, like if Chuck Norris were a dwarf,
right?
I never thought of that. You're right.
He would be Torgen.
You have him too, Matt?
Yeah, mine was a little cold, so he's got a little.
He's got some.
Is that the Max Bird set that came out a couple years ago, or no?
No, this is just a fur coat that I bought at the thrift store and set up.
Okay.
I remember you telling me about that. I was kind of jealous. I'm like, hey, cut me off a piece of that fur, man. Send me that fur.
A couple of years ago, Max Bird put out a awesome soft goods set for him that had like wraps and a whole shawl and everything. I ended up using it all on another custom. And it was just, I wish that he'd remake that one because it was sweet. What's unique about Torgen is that he is the only one with the bare chest, and he's got the bare chest, but he also has the original neck peg. So technically he is taller than everyone else.
Okay.
And then when he has the mohawk, it makes him that much taller as well. So he is the tallest dwarf that we have. Fun fact, if you heat up the head enough, you can pop the mohawk fin out, and you can heat up the mustache, and you can pull the Fu Manchu off if you wanted to do cool different things with it.
Never seen that. Never seen anyone do that.
My blacksmith that goes with my forge diorama.
Yeah.
That head is a Torgen that I removed the mohawk and I filled it in, and then I changed the mustache on it. And I think it might be in, if the photo, one of the photos I sent you of the blacksmith early on.
That one. Let me see here.
It's probably one of the
earlier. I love that Frankenstein, by the way.
Thanks.
Let's see. now we're going through all your slides here.
Yeah, there's some dwarfs there.
Yeah. Got some badass customs, man.
I try my best.
Maybe I didn't.
No, well, maybe. Yeah, there's.
I love that throne.
Yeah, that's a fun one. I take that everywhere to all my shows.
No, that's it.
That's
Tony,
it. All right.
Little Tony was the last.
All good. But yeah, so I did him up in there, and I pulled the mustache off, and I gave him different, a different beard, design and stuff like that. So, but yeah, you can get real crazy with that head. And his nose is naturally dirty.
I love that story. Yeah, I think that's so cool that the factory emulated that smudge.
Yeah.
Thinking that was, how they wanted it.
Yeah. And it's cool because like when you see some of the animated Tolkien stuff, like the Rankin and Bass, when you see some of the way that the noses look and things like that, like it kind of throws that that little bit of vibe to it that way. So like,
yes,
it's neat.
Absolutely. The next figure is from the Deluxe Legion Builder wave, and that is the Deluxe Dwarf Legion Builder.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if I have, actually. I might have that.
I don't think I pulled him out.
He is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if I have that figure now that I think about it.
This is the first release of him with the helmet. I know we showed it off already with the Cavern Dwarf. But this was the new helmet that came with that. This was the new part on that. Helmet. And it came with the ivory style looking horns. In terms of layout, they were all standard parts, nothing new. The paint apps are non-existent. I mean, it is a blank canvas. Very gray. He's got the blue waist. The weapons are like a brass copper-esque kind of thing. Mm-hmm. The only paint is really just the adornments in the beard. But everything else is pretty standard, which makes for a perfect canvas to paint on. If you're a new,
they did that.
What's that?
You think that's why they did that?
Well, it was with the reinforcements, they were all that way. So there was a great way to keep the price point down, because the tooling price points were just the new pieces. And they were really inexpensive. I think, God, at the time, I think they were like $26 figures.
Yeah, 26,
I think at the time. So
you can't beat that price.
Yeah, so you're just buying them, and those are the figures that you buy to learn how to paint. Mm-hmm. Matt Stein, when he came on board, into the community, he bought some figures and just started with some rivets, and then just started doing some inlay. Mm-hmm. And within 18 months, he's the freaking patina prince, and he's doing stuff that blows your mind how amazing it is.
I love that patina. That patina looks so good.
Right. I mean, so these builders, like, don't knock them. Like, they're great if you want to army build them, but if you want to learn how to paint, these are the figures to go and learn off of it.
That's the first one I actually dyed one and painted it. Was the first that builder. So,
you dyed one, man. You're way more braver than I am. I'm not.
It was an experiment. I'll bring it up.
Yeah, let's see what you got here. Hold on, let me embiggen. Oh yeah.
Oh,
down he goes. Which head is that?
Bromden
head.
Well, it's the.
Is that the Bromden from the Legions Con head?
Yeah.
Okay.
What else? Hammer. Don't want to stay up there, but yeah, he's the first one. I ended up dyeing him, and just added some red into.
Yeah.
Kind of did a small rust effect on some parts there.
That looks good, man.
Now, what was great with the deluxe dwarf builder is that they gave us the Magnus torso, which really beefed him up.
Yeah.
Because all the for the long up until then, all the torsos were just the same standard Legion torso. So this was the first time they strayed away from it and gave us a different style torso.
Mm-hmm.
So because this is right after Arethyr. So after Arethyr, we had gotten the red shield soldier torso, and then we got the Magnus torso. So we're able to add a little bit more variety for the figures. So I know they haven't really given us one with the red shield soldier one, but I like using those two to kind of make the dwarves smaller as well. So if you want one that's stockier and broader, you can go that way. If you want to shrink them down a little bit, you can go the opposite way too.
Okay. Good tip. That's a good tip.
That is.
Yep.
Yeah. Next is the reinforcements and then the re-release, I guess, of the bronze dwarf. Was there any change on that one? Or is it basically the same?
It's the same. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
same.
But a great figure.
Yeah.
Now, did they give a reason for like the term bronze or cavern dwarf? Like, did they say why, or is it in the lore? Or
I don't believe that they. I'd have to go back and read the bios, but off the top of my head, I mean, cavern just because of the gray vein mountains and the caverns of the dwarves, that running through there. That had a little bit more sense to the name, but to the silver and bronze, I think it was just based off of a color and kind of went with that. So
yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
And the silver dwarf